Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seekers, today I am your host for the afternoon. My name is Oritra Washak and I am from Bangladesh. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. IGP is a social and ISO certified international training institute. In 3 years, we already served 3 million knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 250 plus professions and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professionals (IGP) is the training faculty for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor marketing by providing professional qualifications. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve student and community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not education to increase one skill develop just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consulting to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our service locally, nationally, and internationally to students, job seekers, job holders, and also for learners, though respective campus location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the most famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product. It's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, award, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we also trying to serve more than 100 premium service to free like create own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and world knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge which can update all day. Kids learning game, website, free courses, convert sites, and many more. We help to empower youth to learn to meet their expectations and dreams and become highly skilled people. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners by professionals, trainers, speakers, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by global renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personalities. To ensure excellent and in-depth instruction, we arranged with qualified trainers, speakers, and instructors. We extended free webinars. We extended free service to more than 3 million knowledge seekers in the last 3 years. We have affiliations with universities and organizations in 70 different countries. Virtual mouse signing with many colleges and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation of future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. We are constantly prepared to assist all knowledge seekers with valuable service. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Professionals. We believe that knowledge is love, light, and vision. So we are trying to understand the needs of today's generation and will serve them with good research and practice method. We have a genuine concern for the learners. We represent more diversity, growth, and innovation and required to lead a session with personalism, passion, and integrity. IG members are committed to offering effective, best quality service and continual improvement so that individual who seeks information can improve their skills, level, and develop and values. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind you don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1291 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1291 webinars successfully. Wow. At present, we are going to start our 1292 program. Name is Radio Based Instruction for the New Normal Classrooms. And our today speaker, ma'am, is Charlie Campos. Before I hand over the stage to ma'am, want to share a little bit about our speaker. He is at Tarlik National High School senior school teacher, school school paper advisor, the melting pot, Deb TV teacher, Borchester. Now, very important moment for me to invite our IGP to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
How are you, ma'am? Good
I'm
afternoon.
good. Yes, I'm good. So I am excited to impart some knowledge with our fellow educators today.
Ma'am, on behalf of IGP Knowledge Seekers, wants to share from you about you, ma'am.
Yes, I am going to share the radio-based instruction for today. So this is our discussion for today.
Ma'am, here is your slide. Please
Yes.
present your
Okay.
presentation.
Thank you. So, as we all know, the COVID 19 pandemic is a very big challenge for education worldwide because education has to be done virtually to stop the spread of COVID 19 before. And now we just started our face to face classes, but somehow in other countries, they are still having other modalities. It is actually the main reason why face to face classes are prohibited to prevent the spread of the said virus. Now, education system has somehow adapted new learning modalities and one is the radio based instruction. So we adapted it in millions of learner for millions of learners around the globe. So in this regard, the academy has introduced the radio-based instruction delivery modality that can tailor fit actually to every learner's needs, regardless of the limitations of remote learning in their area. To start with, okay, so the radio based instruction or RBI is one of the options to reach learners as an alternative learning, as I mentioned a while ago. So the use of radio as a modality can actually reach learners who have limited or no access to online classes or even digital lessons. As we all know, some learners they don't have internet connection. So I think radio-based instruction is one of the best modality that we can provide to our remote learners. So our objective for today is to equip our teachers, our educators with the technical know-how on script writing and broadcasting for the radio-based instruction. Letter B is to simulate radio based instruction through school on air format. And letter C is to assist teachers in establishing their own school based radio based instruction. Okay, so what are the learning delivery modalities? So we have our print based or offline. So this is actually somehow we have our face to face classes, and we give books, we give printed materials to our learners. And then we have what we call the self learning modules. We have our online learning or the distance learning. We have the television based instruction. And of course, we also have our radio based instruction. So I'll just try to share a trivia for you. So Did you know that the ears can only receive 160 words per minute, while the eyes can read up to 1,000 words per minute? So it means that if we are going to have our radio-based instruction, it should be at least half an hour or 40 minutes at least, okay? So that our learners can actually learn a lot from the lessons that we're giving. Okay, so what are the advantages of radio or radio based instruction? The first one is it can actually reach a wide audience. Why? Because we have what we call the frequency. So it means that anyone can actually listen to you over as wide a distance as reception will allow. So it depends to the frequency that your school wants to provide for your school. Another one is economical for material because you don't need any visual aids, right? All you have to do is to talk and your learners will listen to you. You don't need you all you have to do is to prepare for your script and prepare for the creativity of your script and recorded. It should be recorded, or maybe it could also be live. You can use it as many times as required. So the recorded radio based instruction can be used many times, right? But if you want to do it live, it's also possible. And then we have what we call number three is to receiving sets are readily available and reasonably cheap. So they are not expensive. And the best teachers can also use with very wide coverage. Yes, because if, for example, the teacher has to divide the lesson into three, then the teacher can already provide three radio based instruction at the same time with one topic. Okay, so another one is the program can be heard inside the comfort of your home. So these are for the learners. It means it is more convenient for the learners because they're just gonna listen. They don't need to go to school. All they have to do is to listen to their teachers with the use of the radio. Okay, and another one with the introduction of transistorized radio sets. Of course, we really need this because without the transistorized radios, then it's hard for us to transmit the lessons to our learners. Okay. All right. Next is what are again the disadvantages? If we have the advantages, we also have our disadvantages. So the disadvantages of radio-based instruction is it is impersonal because the teacher and the students they don't see each other. they only listen to the teacher, right? So it's just the voice of the teacher that they know, but they cannot see the face of their teacher. However, if the students are really interested, okay, to listen and learn something, then it doesn't matter even if they don't see their teacher, as long as they can listen to their teacher. So sometimes it's a little bit long, it's a long time, so they lose sometimes the interest quickly. So sometimes they feel bored already for listening to the lesson. Okay. Next is communication is a one-way process. Why? Because the teacher cannot get the feedback because it's a radio-based instruction. However, though it they cannot listen to their feedbacks, yet as long as you can transmit the lesson well and clear, then your goal as a teacher or as an educator is already met. Okay, so number three is the radio programs have no visual aids. Yes, your instructional material that you need is your script and your voice. Okay, so therefore, there is a limitation on the variety of subject that can be taught. Okay, so sometimes it's hard to teach physical education because the students cannot see how you move. Yet, if you are very creative, it's easier for you to do that in your script. Number four is radio programs reception can be interrupted. Yes, just like the internet, because the internet is sometimes interrupted, right? So the same with the frequency of the radio. Number five is lengthy regular radio programs unsupported in other ways cause difficulties of self-discipline among students. Yes, because if, for example, your radio-based instruction is lengthy, then it's hard for us to maintain the interest of our students. Okay, next we have the principles of radio script writing. So, how are you going to make a very effective radio script for your instructional materials? So, how do we transform our self-learning modules into scripts for RBI or radio-based instruction through school on the air format? So, here these are the kind of treatments that you need to provide. The first one is it's a straight narration or a teacher approach. So here it includes narration of facts and messages in a straightforward manner. So it's just like lecturing or discussion inside the classroom. So this is a straight narration. So usually these script or this lesson is written in the third person. So the most formal and basic way of presenting the subject matter is actually using the straight narration or the teacher approach. So this is how we usually teach our students because it is somehow the teacher teach the students using a lecture or a discussion. Okay, so and then the students are only listening to their teachers. Number two, we have the dramatic approach. So the dramatic approach is, for example, you want to have a story. So sometimes you try to create characters with different voices, right? So you need to consist those characters and depict with their various roles. So it means that if you want to tell a story, then you need to make that story alive through the voice or different voices with your different characters. So it's not just the teacher who is the character, but let's say for example, you have an old man or maybe an old woman, so your voice should be shift into an old woman or an old man. Okay? So that and this exactly can steer the interest of your learners and they will listen really well because your voice is very interesting. Okay, next is the you approach. So for the you approach, you try to talk to your audience directly. So it's just like you, are you listening? Right? So that is the you approach. It employs the second person point of view, and that is using the pronoun you. Okay, so the writer talks directly to the viewer. So, are you listening? Do you still remember our lesson yesterday? So, this is how you do it. Okay, so next is we have the dialogue approach. So, here, the basic element for the dialogue approach is a conversation. So, you can actually try to invite a guest in your radio based instruction, and then you can talk about the lesson or the topic that you're about to give for that day together with your guest together with your guest. Okay, so it means it's like a conversation style of teaching. And then of course we have the documentary approach. For the documentary approach, all you have to do is somehow like the narrative or the narration approach, because it is a combination of approach with the use of voice clips, sound effects to make the presentation more realistic and credible. So you can actually give at least a sound on tape. For example, you're talking about history, and then you need to provide a recorded speech of of the president or anyone in the house, for example. So in order for them to know and listen to the documentary that you're about to share to your students. Okay? And then we have what we call the abstract or symbolic approach. These are the ideas may not be stated explicitly, and your audience makes own interpretation of the information presented. So somehow for the abstract, you try to make your learners create their own idea, or they create their own conclusion about the lesson that you have. So this is good for the arts, but not scientific and technical information. So it means when we talk about arts, you are teaching art. So the abstract and symbolical approach is very much effective. Okay? And then here, how are you going to approach or guide, okay, or put flesh into your script? Because I know writing a script for the radio based instruction is somehow a little bit challenging for us educators. So, what are the approaches in developing your script? So, these are the guides. So, the first one, it should be child relatable. Okay, so the children or the learners should relate to your lesson. Second, it should be cognitive, psychological, and emotional development of the children. These developments should be targeted. Okay, cognitive, that's the mental, okay, the knowledge that they are about to learn. Psychological, it includes their thinking, their mental health, also their emotional development. Okay, the third one is guidance from both educator and broadcast professionals. So it means that if you broadcast something, remember words are irrevocable. So uh, you cannot take them back, right? Because they are irrevocable. It means that you cannot delete what you have just said to the broadcast. So you need to be careful on what you are sharing to your learners. Okay, number 4 is advocacy for children's welfare. Yes, we teach for the children. We don't teach just for the job itself, but we teach because we love our learners. So it should have the children's welfare, sustainable environment. So every time you make your script, it includes also and letting your learners how to take good care of the environment, respect for cultural identities. So when you give examples, make sure there is respect to other cultures' identities. And of course, you should also tell about the love for countries and of course mankind. And remember, it should also be reasonable. There is a reasonable distribution of education content and entertainment content. It's not always content, because sometimes our learners also like to be entertained while they are listening to your lesson. Okay, next. Here, in developing your scripts, You should have a short paragraph to justify or explain the choice of treatment. Make a detailed summary designed to share the teacher's plan for the lesson script with other before crafting your final or actual script. So it means that when you make your script for the radio-based instruction, you can actually share it with your fellow teachers so that if, for example, they have some suggestions, you can add it to your script. Okay? And what are the principles in radio script writing? So it should be personalized. Remember, when you teach, it is personalized. You need to know your audience and you should gather information about your learners because how will your learners relate to your lesson if the lesson is not anchored or not relatable to their age, or let's say, for example, it's not relatable to the interest of your learners. So know your audience first. Who are my audience? Who will listen to me? Right? So when you know that, then it's easier for you to make your script. And of course, you need to adjust the style, the language, and the content of your writing to your intended audience. So if your audience are young, then you need to use words which the young students can relate to. If they are older, they are professionals, then you need to make a script that is relatable to the professionals. Okay? Next, of course, you need to be brief. Why? Because if it's very long, then the students will not listen to you anymore. Maybe on the first part of your lesson, they will listen to you, but later on, they will feel bored because you keep on talking and talking, and it's not interesting in them anymore. Then they will stop listening to you. So you need to be brief but concise. It means the content is meaty. Okay, so broadcasting has a time constraint. Remember that. You cannot just talk for an hour or two. So, usually, I think 25 minutes to 30 minutes, that's enough for us to deliver our lesson. Okay, a very brief lesson only for our learners. And then you can just continue it for the next day. Okay, next, you need to be clear. When you speak, remember your voice is the only material or the important material that you need for the radio based instruction. So you need to choose simple words only. Why? Because if the students don't know the words that you're using, then you might cause some misconceptions or uh, confusion to your learners. So use only simple words so that the learners will learn easily. Another one is to avoid long words when a short word will do. So short words are better than long words, okay? Especially if your learners are very young. And you need to be precise. Use words carefully to provide specific meaning. Say what you mean. It's not This is not a creative writing radio-based instruction. So you need to be direct. So you just teach what your students need to know. Okay? It's not like you need to decide. The students need to decipher the lesson uh, because you're putting or you're using words which are very complex to their level. So you need to be careful, okay, when you are using your words or your dictions, okay? Next, use contractions. Why? Because remember, it's speaking, it's not writing. So you can use won't, don't. Okay, you don't have to spell out will not, or do not. Because remember, you are talking and your students are listening. It's a conversational type of communication. So avoid contraction when you want to emphasize only an important point. But if it's just simple talking or simple speaking of something, then I think contractions are much allowed. Okay, next, you need to be concise. As I mentioned a while ago, be brief and concise. Every word used must have a purpose. So, If, for example, you keep on talking, you have a lot of additional information, then your lessons become dull. So it's not interesting anymore. So replace a series of words or phrase with one word that means the same. Example, instead of saying in order to, you can just say to. Okay? So that's just the same, but avoid long words. Try to use short words because remember, it's a radio based instruction. Okay, next, be concrete. Avoid vague and abstract words. Remember that because if it's vague and abstract, then it's hard for us to uh, deliver our lesson to our learners. Words must elicit tangible images. So, imagery is very important because we need to stare the imagination or the creativity of our learners by mere listening to your voice. Okay? Next, you need to be concise, as I've mentioned a while ago. Wait a minute. Okay, here. Be conversational. Speak, don't read. So when you are delivering your lesson, I know you have your script, but you need to speak as if you are just having a conversation with your students, and do not read. Make sure that you master your lesson, okay? And then you need to involve the listeners and talk to them because remember, it's just like face to face, only you're just facing with your microphone and also with the speaker. Okay, right for the ear, not for reading. So remember, your students are listening to you, so use simple words. Okay, next, it should be readable. Your scripts must be readable. Why? If it's not readable, then you yourself as a teacher, the teacher broadcaster, will be confused with the words that you just put in your script. So remember, broadcast copy must be smooth and readable. Avoid sibilant words and tongue twisters. Why? Because sometimes if it sounds like a tongue twister, then even your listeners are also confused with the words, okay? So what are the things that you should not do when you write your radio broadcasting instructional material or script? First, you need to avoid alliteration. Avoid homonyms. Homonyms, these are the words which have the same sound, okay? Avoid tongue twisters and use only few words. Few words means brief but concise, okay? So that you will avoid overcrowding words in your script, okay? Next is what are the attribute sources at the start of the sentence? So when you are making your radio-based instruction script, always remember use the active voice. Why? Because when you use the passive voice, it makes your sentences longer, isn't it? But if it is in the active voice, it's direct, it's just a subject and verb. So it means you come across with your lesson directly. Okay, and then your students have finished their homework together. So how are they going to finish their work together? So remember, in the part one part of your lesson in your radio script, there must be homework or assignment, which you as the teacher and the learners can do it together. For example, the learners are listening to you and you are there guiding them how to answer the activity or the homework. Okay? Next, what are the principles in radio script writing? So you need to prefer the indirect quotation. Why? Because this helps in creating a smoother and readable copy. So when we say indirect quotation, it means that you don't say I said, right? So but you just say that I need to deliver this lesson clearly. So remember, it helps to create smoother and readable copy. Okay, next. Provide phonetic spelling for unfamiliar words or jargons. Because remember, your learners are diverse. So sometimes they don't understand the pronunciation of a particular word. So all you have to do is to provide phonetic spelling for unfamiliar words or jargons, because sometimes it's not all words are familiar to us. So you need to provide this phonetic spelling. And of course, you need to use transition words. Why? Contrast ideas, but even so, conversely, differently. So these are simple examples of transition words. So, however, in contrast, and a lot more. So these are transition words which you can use. Why? Because these transition words can actually signal from one idea to another. Okay? Next. Repeat the message if necessary. Yes, because sometimes students they're not listening 100% to your lesson. So, if it's possible for you to repeat the message, then try to repeat their message, especially if you still have enough time. So, example, again, come and learn with us only here at, and then if for example your radio station's name is Sunshine Radio, then use the Sunshine Radio. Okay, so if for example your station's name is IGP Radio, then you can say again, come and learn with us only here at IGP Radio Station, right? So that is how you do your script writing so that the students will remember the name of your station and also remember the name of the teacher. At the same time, also remember the lesson that you just imparted to them at that time. Okay? So use abbreviation, acronyms sparingly and properly. Why? Because some acronyms or abbreviations are not familiar to your learners, so you need to spell them out until they become familiar. So if the students are already familiar, then that's the time you can use the abbreviation or the acronym. Okay? Next, here. Handle figures properly. So you need to round off figures. Spell out fractions like 1/2, 5, spell out numbers, okay, or use at the beginning of the sentence. Spell out numbers from 1 to 10 and use numerals instead. So what does it mean? When you are making your lesson, you need to spell out numbers, okay? Why? Because you might be confused when you read the numbers, so you spell them out. Okay? So I'm going to give you a sample, okay, format for the radio based instruction. So this is the whole part of the script. So this is a 30-minute lesson. So you can start with a program intro. That's 1 minute. The feedback portion, for example, you're talking to your listeners or to your learners, that's 5 minutes. Review for the previous lesson, that's another 5 minutes. Musical break, that's 2 to 3 minutes. Lecture for the day, you can use 10 minutes or 15, that's okay. Brief review of the day's lesson, it means you need to give the summary of the lesson, that's 3 minutes. Announcement or reminders, if you have any homework to give, that's 2 minutes. And then you can put your closing or your extra, that is 1 minute. Okay, I hope you can follow, and I hope this will really help you to make your own radio based instruction lesson. Okay, so these are the teacher broadcasters should have. First, you should be clear and easy to understand even when speaking quickly. So the teacher should speak clearly so that students will understand them well. So the paces of your teacher's voice must be well to fit the storyline. It also helps the audience understand the issue or the lesson. Show expressions of interest, enthusiasm, and confidence. Yes, because remember, if you sound nervous, the students can actually feel that. So if the students, if your voice is a little bit uh what do you call the shaky like that, and there's no confidence, they think that your students the students think that you don't know the lesson, so you need to project your voice that you know the lesson. Okay, next. Here, your teacher broadcaster or your radio based instruction teacher should have excellent enunciation. Your teacher should pronounce, articulate words in a distinct manner, talks in accent that is socially acceptable. So, if, for example, you are a Filipino, speak the Filipino English pronunciation. Okay, so if you are from another country, then it's okay to adapt your own pronunciation. Okay, it doesn't matter as long as the students can understand you well. Utilize various voice inflection changes to enhance meaning of the lines. Yes, if you need to emphasize something, you emphasize it because that's very important. And stretch a word to a desired length to emphasize or give the appropriate meaning. So remember, if the student don't know, if the students don't know the meaning of the word, then you need to stretch it out. You need to define the word because remember, they cannot see you. They are only talking or listening to you through the radio. So make sure that you know what you are talking or what you are saying to your students. Okay? All right. Your voice recognition must be clear and modulated voice. You present appropriate pace and volume. So remember, not too fast, not too slow. Consistently audible throughout the presentation and can easily be heard in all parts of the room. So remember, check your microphone, check your speaker, do your student hear you well. Okay, so you need to listen. Okay, you need to um, you need to know if the students can actually listen to you clearly, so check all the device that you need in the radio based instruction. Okay, so what are the tips that I can give you? So be natural, but don't forget to have your own delivery style. So make your own identity. So if, for example, you you don't have to make a voice acting when you are delivering your lesson. Why? You just need to sound natural. Why? Because if you sound natural, it's more convincing. Okay? So, okay, and then right for the ear, not the eye. So it's not just for reading, but it's for the ear because they're listening to you. Delivery should be conversational yet concise. It means you talk to your students but short. Okay, friendly yet authoritative. Why? You need to be friendly. Okay, the sound of your voice must be friendly. But remember, there is an authority because remember, you are the teacher and you need to be snappy yet eloquent. Okay? All right. So that is the end of my slides or my lesson or my topic for today. So maybe we can have our quiz time. So here you need to read each statement below carefully. Place a T on the line if you think the statement is true. Place an F on the line if you think the statement is false. Are you ready? Okay, so we're gonna wait for our viewers to answer the following. What do you think? Okay, let's try to answer. Number one, radio programs can provide no visual aid. It's true because we don't need visuals for radio programs, right? Because they just listen to you. Number two, the lesson can be heard inside the comfort of your home. True. Yes, because you can listen to the lesson anytime, anywhere, right? Number three, lessons can be recorded and can be used as many times as required. True, especially if the radio based lesson is recorded, right? Radio coverage is limited. Is it limited? Yes, it is because it depends to the frequency which your school provide. Okay. The cost number five is cost for radio equipments are high. Is it high? True or false? It can be true or false. It depends to the brand. Okay. Avoid vague and abstract words. True. Why? Because if you give vague and abstract words, then your listeners or your learners will not understand what you are talking about. Number seven, I think these are all true. Let's see. The teacher should have clear and modulated voice. True, right? Oh, how about this one? Choose complex words in lesson. False, because you need to choose simple words in lesson. Number nine, broadcast copy must be smooth and readable. True, yes. And lastly, what's the last part? Wait a minute. Gather information about your learners when you do the broadcast. True. Yes, very good. So I hope you got them all correct. Okay, and I hope you've learned a lot from this topic. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening and watching.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seekers surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seekers can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seekers. Ma'am. Once again, thank you so much, dear ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for question answer part, which is one of the most valuable part of our video. Honorable ma'am, please stay with us. After a short video, we will come back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IGB knowledge seeker, ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition process. Thank you. Enjoy question answer session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me here. And I hope everybody has learned from this topic.
Ma'am, stay with us. welcome back, ma'am. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box. Our speaker is waiting for your question. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box.
There aren't any questions, sir.
Dear IGB knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box. Ma'am, I hope you covered full topic properly. That's why here is no question. Okay, ma'am. Let's start. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with the new topics. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Ma'am, hope to you see you again with a new topic and new date. Thank you, ma'am, and take care.
Thank you.
Honorable ma'am, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can. Honorable ma'am, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can, ma'am.
Okay. Can I leave now, sir?
Sorry, ma'am.
Is it okay to leave? Am I done with the presentation? Okay, thank you.
IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification process. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification process. IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. And after webinar certification process, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Thank you. Today's our some technical Thank you. Today's our some technical problems. You cannot share our certificate code email. Who provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. First of all, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to find today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining. And the code is Global IGP. And the code is Global IGP. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. And enjoy your quiz session. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, join me Slido with code and the code is Global IGB. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, join me Slido with code and the code is Global IGP. 17 people joined with us for this session. IGP knowledge seekers, join Slido with code and the code is Global IGP. IGP knowledge seeker, please join Slido with code and the code is Global IGP. 19 people joined with us from. Let's start our quiz session. Our first question in session is providing production practice for new words in a internative technique for. First option is word relationship and second option is word retrieval. Word retrieval is the right answer and 24% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our second question in this session is providing direct instruction in word meaning is an inventorying. Providing direct instruction in word meaning is an inventation technique for. First option is the literate lexicon and second option is word relationship. First option is the literate lexicon, and second option is word relationship. The literate lexicon is the right answer, and 70% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our third question is what was a normal school? First option is a school that normal children attend, and second option is a school that focus on teacher training. A school that focused on teachers training is the right answer, and 30% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our fourth one question section is a structured process by which people become skilled workers, though a combination of classroom instruction. A first option is apprenticeship training, and second option is programmed learning. First option is the right answer, and 81% people are right. Moving to the next question. Our question in this section is what did idea do for special education? First option is it allowed. First option is first option is it allowed initiates to become an expectable norm, and second option is student has the right to educated with non-disabled peers. First option, second option is the right answer, and 95% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our sixth long question is differentiate instruction is based upon. First option is adapting instruction to difference using acting learning, and second option is someone needs to lay off the circuits. First option is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, that is aiming for the animated lesson can be just adjust though the first option is setting one, and second option is hands to. Aiming for the animated lesson can be adjusted though the first option is setting one, and second option is hands to. Setting one is the right answer, and 62% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our eighth long question is depth campus in an innovation in Education intended in the new normal classroom instruction.
ভাই একটা ছবি
First
আপলোড
option
হয়েছে
is true
5
and
মিনিট ধরে
second
হচ্ছে না
option is false.
হ্যাঁ ছবিগুলো এরকম প্রবলেম করে মানে ওর টাইম আউট করলে হবে এগুলো ফাস্ট করে দিতে হবে না তাহলে এলিমেন্টারিও তো অনেক সময় প্রবলেম এলিমেন্টারি 3-4 বার ক্লিক
It
করলে
is
একবার যাচ্ছে
true or false. False is the right answer and 11% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our ninth one question in this section is LD and tool for teachers aim to support teachers in preparation for the new learning delivery modality of schools. It is true or false? It is true or false? True is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our final question in this session is good workspace for education tools foster collaboration for more impactful instruction. First option is true and second false. First option is true and second option is false. First option is true and second option is false. True is the right answer and 95% people are right. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 1. Congratulations again. Slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. And after that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificates of global professionals. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. Slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. After that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificates on our official Facebook page and groups. Name is Institute of Global Professionals. At the end moment of our session, and we can we can say properly feed your school never stop learning because life never stop teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. Thank you. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end like button, again to once thank you to all ISBN all seekers for your active participation as always. See you in the next session. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us.